think you should vibe with Faith. You keep saying that. I think you guys have a lot in common. It's giving like zero energy. It's giving diva energy. It's not diva. Diva shouldn't do that. I get me. I am shocked. Yeah, Choima is telling us now that Mariam is the one that told us to ignore me.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Gazi and this is Chat with Gazi. Please, if you're here to subscribe, can click on the subscription button and click on the notification bell so you can get notified whenever I post any new video. As far as I'm concerned, for this Real Housewives of Lagos, Mariam is becoming a nuisance. Yes, both to herself and to other people. Well, this video is dedicated to the Real Housewives of Lagos season 2 episode 7, which was titled Family and Frenemies. So it started with Faith and her son having a staycation. Yes, she took him for a staycation, and for her, she said she just hopes to bond and have fun with him. She was gisting him. Apparently, she tells her son everything because she was gisting her son about the time with the ladies and all that. For the next scene, Faith apparently invited Laura and Toyin with their children. Yes, she wanted the children, like both her child and those two children, to have a play date, which happened, and it was so much fun. They painted afterward, they went swimming and all that. They basically had fun. And in Faith and Laura's confessionals, they said that how they loved their kids associating with other people. The next scene was Tiannah having a photo shoot with her family. Yes, her husband and her kid. Apparently, the dog joined. And before then, when they were making her up, she had spoken about hosting the ladies. For her, she just wanted to have a fun night out. Yes, she did not want her event to be shattered the way Iyabo's own was shattered. So she just wanted something fun and all. The next scene was Mariam meeting with Dr. Soji Abisuji. Yes, and that is her child's godfather. However, they were there to talk business. He told her about his new project and told her that she should come up with a PR to market the business, which she said she was going to do. The next scene was Choima. She went to Brothers and Coppers to go and check the renovation because remember, the place got burnt and all that, so she's renovating the place. And she was pretty much disappointed that they had not done anything. And she was letting them know that the more the place is shut down, the more they keep losing money. Yes, and they're in the red right now. She cannot afford to run a business like that. And then Laura calls her, telling her that she's stopping by and all. And in her confessional, she stated how she did not want the ladies to see the place, yes, until it was finished. However, she cannot tell Laura not to come. And then when Laura came, Laura told her that she's so sorry about the whole thing and that she should not worry, the place would be up and running before she knows it. And then they could not talk there. They had to step out to the car to actually talk because the place was stuffy. And then when they were talking, Choima had commended Laura on her event and all, but said that the tension in the event was just too much. There was the drama between Faith and Dr. Rume, and then there was the drama again between Faith and Mariam. And you could cut the tension in the room with a knife. And for her, the whole thing was just somehow she has not been able to figure Faith out. So she does not even think she can vibe with Faith. And that was where this girl, waiting with her name, Laura, was letting her know that Faith's energy is like a diva's energy. And she was telling her that no, Faith's energy is zero and all. And Laura was basically telling her, you guys have so much in common and I feel like you guys will be able to vibe. For Choima, it is not a diva, like Faith does not possess that diva energy because a diva controls everything in the environment and Faith does not have that ability to do that. I like the fact that Laura did not say anything bad about Faith. She instead continued saying that Faith was this and Faith was that, like nice things, you get. The next scene was Tiannah. Yes, Tiannah goes to her husband's club and Choima joins her. And the place was at Buzz Bar. Yes, her husband and his friend owns the place. And then they were talking. And that was the first time the ladies were meeting since after Laura's event. And then they were talking about the awkwardness in the room. They spoke about how Choima said she was so happy for Laura because Laura sold a lot and all. And then they started talking about how things were. The awkwardness between Dr. Rume and Faith and the whole thing with Mariam and Faith. And for for Choima, the whole thing was just petty. In the group, they don't do that thing of they fight now and then they drag it. No, they fight and then they move on. Yes, but the way it is going, it seems like no, Faith is dragging the whole fight with Miriam and all that. And for her, she does not like it. Also, the whole thing with Dr. Rume, she has stated that Dr. Rume has stopped her after Laura's party, and I told her that he wanted to have a conversation with her, and I basically just told her about everything that had happened between himself and Faith, how he stopped Faith, how he went to Faith, approached Faith for a conversation, and then according to what she said, Dr. Rume said to her. So for her story, she was like, Dr. Rume told her that he tried to sort things out and that Faith just lashed out on him. And before he knew what was going on, Faith lashed out, was saying that she doesn't know him, they are not friends, that it was not her event. She was saying a lot of mean things at him, and that the whole thing was just messy. And before he knew what was going on, Faith had walked out on him. And this had reminded her of how Faith had wanted to walk out on her during the whole basketball thing. Remember when they were having a conversation, that's Choima and Faith, at the basketball court concerning the whole fight with Mariam and Iyabo Ojo, where Faith was telling her that this whole thing is becoming prolonged ahead. Choima was referring to that. And Choima was like, that for her, it just portrays Faith in one kind of light and it's not that cool. For Tiannah said the whole thing is with the whole Dr. Rume is that for her, she does not really know Dr. Rume because she has not really spoken to Dr. Rume. So she does not know his vibe. Whereas Choima said he's a jolly good fellow and all that. So the problem, basically, she was insinuating it has to be from Faith. Also, talking about the whole Faith and Mariam thing, they were talking and saying that for Tiannah was basically saying that for her, there has to be something more, and she feels like she's missing something. It has to be something more than not having your friend's number for Mariam to be going at Faith like that, for it to get to that point. Tiannah tells her about hosting the girls and how she did not want any drama or anything like that, because now she even feels somehow hosting the ladies because she has a whole build-up from the tension and the awkwardness of Laura's party entering into her own event, which she does not really like. The next thing is Laura and Tiannah. Yes, that's Toyin. They met up in a restaurant for drinks and then they started talking. Yes, and they were basically mending their relationship, talking about how last year was and how this year is. This girl, Laura, basically saying that she does not want to have that whole thing of last year, let last year be last year and this year be this year. She likes where she and Toyin are at the moment and she would not want to spoil that for anything. As far as she's concerned, the ladies, they basically start talks and all that, and then when you entertain the talk and you speak back, they carry it and build on it, and then they start to witch hunt. And that's one of the reasons, one of the things that affected her relationship with Toyin. And then the apology was done, two of them, they were good, and she started telling her of the things that the ladies have been saying and how she has noticed that, okay, this is a strategy for the ladies, this is what they do, and she's not going to fall for it again. She fell for it last year, she's not going to fall for it again. That's why when they bring up this whole Faith thing, she lets them know that whatever they say, Faith is a sweet person, an amazing person. For her, it's what Faith shows her and what people show her this season that she's taking. She's not taking any them say, which Tiannah had said that she too, she would abide by that. She feels like that's the way to go this particular season. And then the whole Mariam talk came up, where Laura was basically telling Toyin that Mariam came to me and was saying a lot. If it was the Laura of last season, I would want to say this, I want to say that. But I'm like, no, they will not get me to say something against my friend. That's Faith. So she started telling her the things that Mariam had done, and it just baffled Tiannah, because Tiannah was like, as how you take risk here? And for Laura is like, for her, she feels like Mariam is acting a script. Yes, and the whole thing progressed, and Tiannah was talking about how Laura feels like Mariam is acting a script, and here she is. You know, when you're the star, when you're the drama, you don't even need to do too much. You just need to smile and you are the show. Unlike Mariam that is fighting here and there. And did she lie? No, because Mariam is a nuisance, both to herself and to everyone around her. We'll get back to that, her drama, later on. Well, they were talking about it, and then they started talking about Faith. And for Tiannah was like, Faith is very composed. So if you don't know her, or if you've not really looked at her, you've not taken your time to look at her, you feel she's also acting a script. Yes, because she's all put together and all, whereas that is Faith. And two of them just spoke about their friendship and how they're happy they are where they are right now. They spoke about that thing that Laura has said about taking a bullet, where she had said that she cannot take a bullet for Toyin. And Laura tried to explain herself, and Toyin was of the opinion that, these ladies, we are cool, we are just, we've known each other for so long. Why table our matter in the presence of these ladies? It does not make sense. And that was where she brought up Mariam's matter again, saying that she and Mariam had hashed out their issues. And then during the whole party, the Dr. Rome and Faith's party, that's the Botox party, that Choima had mentioned something about, oh, you guys are now chummy again and all that, meaning she had tabled her matter with Choima and the rest, which as a friend, that was not meant to happen. Well, both ladies are in a good spot and they're happy that they are back together. Day for the event, and Tiannah arrived first at the club. Yes, and if you ask me, Tiannah hosted them pretty well. She did an amazing job. Well, she got there first, and the next to arrive was Faith. And this gave an opportunity for Tiannah and Faith to actually talk. And then they spoke about Faith and Dr. Rome. And that was where Faith had explained herself to Tiannah, letting her know that she did not like the narrative that was painted out there. That she and Dr. Rome, it's not like they know each other. They started talking December last year. And she showed Tiannah the messages. And Tiannah was pretty much shocked that, so why is he claiming like he knows you and all that? And for Tiannah was not having it in her confessional because she was like, it does not make sense. You don't know the girl, so why are you forming like you know her and trying to use her to like get along with other people? It does not make sense. If she's the one, she's not going to have it also. And Tiannah had told her that, see, I had spoken bad about you, I had insulted you, because for me, this did not make sense. But now that I've heard your part, I'm saying I wasn't meant to say all that. And in her confessional, she has stated it that for how she did not, like, the mouth she has used to insult Faith is the mouth she will also use to acknowledge that Faith did nothing. For Faith has said, because she said she did not want the friendship anymore, that was where the problem started and that was it. And for her, she knows those type of people that when you cut them off, they attach themselves to someone else just to keep being around. And in her confessional, she said it. She said, dude, I knew you would keep being around. Yes, because I knew you were a snake and you are desperate. Talking about Dr. Rome. Yes, for her, Dr. Rome is a snake and Dr. Rome is desperate. And Dr. Rome is a type of, like, he's categorized under those type of desperate people that when they cannot use you, they try to use people around you to get to you and all that. So basically, two of them just spoke. And for Tiannah was like, it's crazy that Faith right now looks crazy and she needs to clear her name. Yes. For her, Faith needs to clear her name. Faith needs to speak up about the whole thing and all that. Yes. And for Tiannah in her confessional, she was like that, she doesn't really like to pretend and all that. So you see that dancing thing that Faith had done with Dr. Rome during the whole Botox party. If she was the one, she would have thrown Dr. Rome inside the pool. And I'm like, Tiannah, kilo day. Well, the ladies arrived one by one and they were hailing themselves. Laura arrived, Toyin arrived, and they were having drinks, they were hailing themselves and all that. And Toyin was talking about how she wanted Mariam to arrive, yes, because the place was boring, where's her raccoon and all that. And for Faith in her confessional said that there's no one missing, she's not seeing anybody missing so far. And the ladies were drinking, they were having fun and all. Remember, Iyabo Ojo is still on vacation with her husband in London. And then Mariam finally arrives. It did not take long before she started being a nuisance. Yes. Now, what had happened? She came, they were vibing and all. And before we knew what was happening, she had brought up a talking about how for her, this whole thing was somehow, how group of girls will gather. Yes, group of girls will gather. There must be pettiness, there must be fights and all that. And then she started talking. And the next thing, she started talking about being people being two-faced and people just basically pretending when they did not like each other, they're pretending like they like each other and all that. And Choima had picked it up saying, but you did the same thing too. How, funny enough, how do you get to question how people get to relate with other people? And she was like, yes, that Choima is an example with the whole Laura thing. She and Laura is like they had a common enemy. Now, the common enemy at that point in time that she's referring to is Tiannah. Yes, that they had a common enemy and two of them just started doing the whole laughing and all that. Whereas they had not had a conversation, so they were being fake. And Tiannah had a confessional where she was saying that Mariam has a problem. How does two people trying to get along and be civil is being described as fake, which I also bite that idea. Like how Mariam needs to get her head checked as far as I'm concerned, because when the whole thing escalated, because Choima was basically letting her know that you were also not in good terms with Laura and you invited her and all that and you were all chummy with her. So how is it that you are saying this? And in this girl's confessional, she stated how nobody can question her. This same Mariam had stated how it was her events that whole thing happened, so she had the right to question anything she wants to question. Nobody had the right to stop her from questioning anything. Now I'm asking myself, you have the right to question people's attitudes. You have the right to question people's behavior. But you don't want people to question your own. Girl, you need to get your head checked as far as I'm concerned. Yes, you have issues and you need to deal with those issues. And before we knew it, two of them were talking, and that was where Choima let out the bag. Choima informed the house that, basically not the house because they knew, it was just the newcomers and Laura that did not know. Basically informed them that it was Mariam that brought up the idea of everybody shunning and ignoring Laura when they were in Dubai. And Laura was shocked. Like, she got the shocker of her life. You could tell from her facial expression that she was legit shocked. She was like that. It's funny how Mariam was the only person that came to check up on her when that whole thing happened. And people were, and then Choima was like, you see, that's two-faced. Talking in her confessional, that's two-faced. That's like playing Chelsea and Man U at the same time. And then they were just basically talking about that. And before we knew what was going on, what's her name? Mariam had said, are you stupid? And Choima had returned the vibe, are you mad? The next thing, two of them started going on and on and on. Mariam was pointing at Choima's face, and Choima had told her, don't point at me again. And Choima had, in her confessional, stated that she does not like that the way this girl is talking to her and all that, putting her hand in her face, that very soon she will get a slap. And now Choima has been talking about how people will get slapped since we have not seen any slap. Well, she was just talking about that. And then back to the girls, she then told Mariam, stop it. And then she put her hand on Mariam's face and told her, how would you feel if I'm doing this to you? And Mariam was like that she can continue to do it, that's how she talks. And in her confessional, she was talking about how Mariam was trying to get her to be physical, but how she was not going to go there. And I'm like, she just basically did what you did to her. So how is she trying to get you to be physical when you are not trying to get her to be physical? Mariam needs to get her head checked as far as I'm concerned. I'm repeating it over and over again because that girl has serious issues. Well, they were talking about that whole thing, and then Choima just stood up and backed her. And the next thing, Mariam had a problem with it again, that Choima had backed her and all that. Well, Tiannah put an end to the whole fight. While that whole drama and all was going on, Laura was shocked. Tiannah and Faith were minding their business. Tiannah was eating, then she took Faith aside and they were basically minding their business. Tiannah was shocked at the whole thing and was basically wondering why this whole drama was happening in her event. Yes, and then afterwards they had fun. a magician came and the ladies were blown away. Yes, 3 guys came and they snapped pictures. The guys, according to Tiannah, were for the single ladies. However, Mariam was so excited, taking pictures and all. And for her, if her husband was saying this, her husband would just be laughing because her husband knows that she plays a lot. And this is just her playing around. Then a belly dancer came and all. Basically, the ladies danced and had fun, and that was the end of this particular episode. Next episode, we're going to be seeing Mariam and Choima at it again. Yes, so apparently it's like after that whole thing, maybe Mariam told Iyabo about the whole thing, called Iyabo and told Iyabo, and Choima had got to know about it, and it's like Iyabo did not support Mariam. So those two are going to go at it again. I'm like, dun dun. Well, that's all I have for you guys on this video. Please, if you're here to subscribe, kindly click on the subscription button and click on the notification bell so you can get notified whenever I post any new video. I love you guys. Thanks for watching this far. Bye, guys.